Okay, it looks like we've got a pretty good crowd here, so we'll go ahead and kind of get started here. I'm Mike McAvoy. I'm the Director of Marketing for Kahoot, and welcome to How to Boost Sales with a Multi-Marketplace Fulfillment and Sales Strategy. Before we get started, I just want to take care of a little bit of housekeeping. We will send a recording of the webinar in a few days after the holiday there. You won't need your camera or microphone today. You'll be able to ask questions via the Q&A box there at the bottom of the screen. So please keep those coming throughout the webinar. We'll try to address some of those as we can in line, and we'll save some for the end. And if we don't get to your questions during the live event, we'll try to answer them after the webinar. And also we'll do a couple of quick polls throughout the webinar today just to get a little better feel for the audience. And that'll help the presenters out just to understand the audience a little bit better. And at the end of the webinar today, we will do a live Q&A session. So please keep those questions coming in through the Q&A feature at the bottom of the screen. All right, and before I introduce the hosts, I want to share some startling facts that I hope will get you as pumped up about this webinar topic as we are. Did you know that 63% of consumers start their search on Amazon, 25% start their search on other marketplaces, and only 21% start their search on brand websites? Collectively, marketplaces make up a whopping 62% of global e-commerce sales in 2020. And maybe the most important number is that merchants that sell on 3 or more channels can see a 200% boost in sales. And as we'll learn today, adopting a multi-marketplace strategy is one of the best ways to find sustainable growth, but only if you carefully align your sales and fulfillment strategies. So now I'd like to introduce our speakers for today. First, we've got Manish Chowdhury. He's the founder and CEO of Kahoot, the world's first peer-to-peer e-commerce fulfillment network. Kahoot enables e-commerce merchants on channels such as Amazon, Walmart, eBay, and Shopify to win sales with affordable nationwide 1-day and 2-day delivery. Manish is a 40 under 40 competition winner and holds an honorary doctorate from the University of Bridgeport. And this year, Kahoot was recognized as one of Fast Company's most innovative companies. I'd also like to introduce Alejandro Sanchez from Channel Advisor. He's a very customer-centric executive with over 16 years of experience working in social enterprises and within tech, within marketing, customer success, and business development disciplines. His industry experience includes working in ad tech and e-commerce, and working with brands looking to pursue multi-channel sales strategies, as well as performance-driven advertising programs. Alejandro is passionate about having organizations become more customer-centric, and he's a smart guy. He's got an MBA from Duke University. So now what I like to do is just kind of cover the agenda on what we're going to be covering today. First, we'll talk about marketplace trends and challenges and opportunities. We'll talk about why you should consider adopting a multi-marketplace strategy and why now. And we'll talk about some of the common pitfalls and how to avoid them. We'll also talk about how to choose the right marketplaces, how to create offers that convert, how to win the buy box everywhere you sell, and multi-marketplace fulfillment challenges and options. With that said, I'd like to go ahead and introduce Alejandro. So Alejandro, take it away.
Mike, thanks so much for the introduction, and thanks to Kahoot for hosting this webinar. Thanks for everyone for joining. So hopefully you'll get out of this webinar with some good questions and initiative to explore more the multi-marketplace strategies and better fulfillment strategies. So we all know the story, especially with COVID. E-commerce is growing much faster than in the previous 5 years combined. Consumers are buying online more than ever, And it seems like this is a sustained trend. And so what we want to share with you today is where these consumers are going to search and spend. And spoiler alert, it's mainly the marketplaces, and why this is happening and how to tackle this opportunity. So the e-commerce landscape has seen quite a bit of change over the past 10 to 20 years. So while it took more than 15 years for the number of global marketplaces to grow by 2.5x, in the last 7 to 10 years this number has grown by 4x. So the number of marketplaces has exploded. And we'll explore why this has happened, who are the players, and how to best tackle this opportunity. But it's definitely an outstanding number, and it sometimes looks like a complicated field to play in. So when you look at the different marketplaces, this is just the slide just shows some of the logos, but what we have here is a fragmented demand with lots of channels, lots of complexities, and a constant insufficiency of resources to do it all, right? It probably happens to you all every day. Having time to list your products in one place, in the other, manage quantities, and that's only on the digital side of things. You also need to take care about making sure you actually have the products in stock, fulfill the orders, all that stuff. That's super complex, and don't forget that more and more advertising channels and marketplaces are becoming one. So we see, Google and Facebook, which are the leading digital marketing destinations, they have launched marketplaces, and Amazon, eBay, Walmart, Target, which are, retailers, and all of them have launched marketplaces. They've also launched advertising businesses. So the two worlds are blurring together, and that's just making life more complicated for the sellers, but also opening up opportunities. So what we think is that this fragmented marketplace is attracting consumers at a faster pace that brands' websites are doing because of their ubiquity, convenience, catalog size, and value proposition. So it's not a matter of should I sell on marketplaces, but how many, with what strategies, and how soon. So why has a marketplace explosion occurred? And we will explain how changes in supply and demand, as well as the ecosystem, have driven this. So if you see that this world of marketplaces, there has been an explosion in the number of retailers selling online, as well as digital first brands. So there's certainly been a lot more supply, more products, more people selling those products, and this has been driven by a few factors. One is it's much easier to manufacture goods across the world at a much lower cost. So you can find different suppliers and manufacturers across the world, and these lower barriers have made it easier to launch products. But also, and the second factor here is that creating an e-commerce site has become extremely easy. There's tools like Shopify, BigCommerce, WooCommerce. Anyone can do it, right? You don't need to know HTML, CSS, all that stuff. 15 years ago, building a retail website was not easy. Today is very easy. And plus, if you add that there are more and more payment options integrated into these tools that make it easy and for trustworthy for the customers to purchase with PayPal, Amazon Pay, Google Pay, etc., that has helped with the adoption. And then finally, a fast growing number of consumers shop online, and we're going to dig deeper into that in the next slide. And they start their product search online. So it means that e-commerce has a strong influence in the purchasing decision. And so as on the demand side, as we're talking, there's just growing and more selective consumer demand, which has opened room for more demand channels. Consumers are looking for price, convenience, and selections, and marketplaces provide that. But also at the same time, as more and more consumers search and buy online, and a study from Statista from 2020 shows that around 2 billion people are already buying online, and that's going to continue growing with more internet and mobile penetration. And they also look for larger online catalogs, more convenience, and again, marketplaces are providing that convenience. And a lot of those consumers are starting their search online. 63% of those, according to Google. So even if they purchase offline, online is a very important touch point. And then finally, these empowered customers with online signals like reviews, professional and user generated pictures, videos, contents, recommendations, and plenty of options, they're driving the purchasing process. And so makes it harder for sellers, for merchants like all of you to capture and retain these consumers directly. And a factor driving this is marketplace explosion. So definitely there's growing and more picky demand, and we need to be there where customers are. And so why multi-marketplace now? So as we've established, and you've seen it, consumers are not coming to your site to purchase, at least not to start, right? I mean, obviously, if you have already a consumer that's loyal, they've bought from you a couple times, they're going to your site, they know your experience, but most of them are going elsewhere. So where are they? And so if we put here the stat that Mike mentioned earlier about Amazon, that 63% of consumers start their online product search on Amazon, and that with a few other studies out there have proven that consumers are starting their searches at different online marketplaces and retailers. So definitely expecting to capture consumers, get their attention, make a sale, and hopefully retain them to be a repeat customer. It's not going to happen unless you have either a brand with a recognition like Nike, which most of us don't have. You spend all your savings in advertising, which is not the best use of your money and time, or we participate in these, in a smart way on the relevant marketplaces that they already are offering the convenience and product catalog for these users. And if we do it in a smart way, then it's a win for sellers. So I'll pause there. We're going to make a poll. How many marketplaces do you sell on? So Mike, if you want to
Oh,
launch
yep.
that poll.
Yeah, hang on 1 second. All right, so I've got a poll here. So if you guys could just jot your numbers in there, that'll really help us out. All right, we'll give this just a couple more moments. Oh, getting some good feedback there. All right, so let's share these results.
All right. Cool. So this is interesting that most people said that they're selling on six or more marketplaces. That's encouraging and exciting to see, because definitely when talking to larger brands and still a lot of companies out there, they've obviously participating in either in Amazon, eBay, the top marketplaces, but having merchants that participate in more than six, it's not the norm. So I guess we have a very active and engaged marketplace crowd today, and that's interesting because when you see you know the world of marketplaces, there's a lot in the different strategies. So what I'm showing here on this slide is explosive growth of marketplaces is different strategies. You might be wondering, why sell across different marketplaces if they are all the same? Wouldn't it just be doubling there for no extra benefit? And the answer is no, if you do it right. So there are marketplaces like Amazon, eBay, Walmart that where you can sell all your catalog, and they're great for consumers that are looking for price and selection, but there are other things like great fulfillment that drive the purchase. Now, there are other marketplaces that are category focused, like the ones that we show here, a few for fashion or some for consumer electronics like Newegg and Best Buy. And there you can find a consumer that's more of an enthusiast. They're looking deeper maybe for the right product. They might be willing to pay more. So it might be of a deeper catalog strategy, a higher margin strategy. But perhaps you want to participate in those marketplaces that are either focused on a target market, so focused on the female market, focused on the younger market, or maybe promotional items, like offer up, and that gives you different strategies. The key here is to understand who are these marketplaces attracting to their site, what those consumers are looking for, and align what your promotions, your product, your catalog strategy is with the strategy of those marketplaces. And don't think that, by just being on the top two or three, then you're maximizing your profit potential, because there's probably more profit to be made out there if you expand into other marketplaces. But obviously, comes the question of, okay, we get it. There's a lot of marketplaces. People are going to those marketplaces to purchase. How do we excel at that game? And obviously, we're not going to be able to answer all of the questions in this webinar, but hopefully we'll be able to highlight some of the things that we think make you most successful in those marketplaces. And so we believe that there are three components of a successful marketplace strategy: operations, expansion, optimization. And I'll dive a little bit into each of these. But again, you'll get these slides and you can go deeper into these points. But operations, we're talking about the agility and efficiency to list, manage quantity, fulfill, and succeed in managing each marketplace. And these have challenges like keep up with data requirements, which are constantly changing. Those of you participating in a few marketplaces know that Amazon, eBay, etc. They change the requirements often, and so that's hard, right? You also need to be investing in making sure your systems are in sync, so that product information and quantity is updated. You don't want to be showing an outdated product or a product that you don't have quantity of, etc. Um, so that's a little bit about operations and some of the points that I've made. When we talk about expansion, with all this competition and again customers going to those different places, it is imperative to expand and look for other marketplaces, both in terms of verticals but also geographic expansion. But again, the expansion has its own challenges. You need the right resources, skills, and context to expand into these new marketplaces, and obviously the capacity to handle them is additional capacity, as well as selecting the right channels, the SKUs, the pricing. So expanding is an opportunity, but it also has its own challenges. And then finally, when we talk about the third, leg of this stool, if you will, for a successful marketplace strategy, we definitely think about optimization. It's selling efficiently. If you're participating in a marketplace, but you're not optimizing to be at the buy box and to show your products at the top of the search, if you're showing on page, 3, 4, 5, page 20, your product is not going to be discovered, and you're not going to get as many sales, to be honest. So you definitely need to optimize and have tools like an repricer, cross-channel decision maker, title and keyword optimization, and those things that help you optimize per channels. And key to align your selling teams and merchandising teams, because as we've talked, these marketplaces are doing more and more advertising and aligning more with those types of channels. So definitely operations, expansion, optimization, very important to succeed at the marketplace strategy. So what we're saying here is that a multi-marketplace strategy, it's not necessarily about selling everything everywhere. It might be for somebody, but not for everyone. So you have to select carefully what you sell where, and there could be a few strategies like focusing on profit by product on the right channels, or aligning the demand focus of the marketplace with your target customer. You can understand competitors' top sellers and then pick your own and reevaluate constantly. Or, obviously expose underperforming products in other channels, and channels where there might be a more of a price conscious consumer. And so think about the different strategies. Your catalog is not one size fits all type strategy, and there might be different opportunities to highlight different products on different marketplaces. And so to finalize my portion of the webinar, just a quick highlight of what ChannelVisor does for those of you that are not familiar with us. So we're a multi-channel software solution, and we allow brands and retailers to integrate and manage your e-commerce operations across the entire consumer journey. And so it's a centralized platform. You can see it as a centralized hub for your omnichannel strategies. And so hopefully we can help you connect across the customer journey, So turning those consumers into shoppers, into buyers, and then, finally loyal long-term consumers. And we've talked about marketplaces in this webinar. We connect with more than 140 marketplaces globally. So easing up of some of those pains that we've discussed. And we do it through our platform and our software platform, but we also have professional services for those of you who need more hands-on help. We also offer digital marketing solutions, first-party dropship, and other services. If you're interested, at the end of the webinar, there's a link to contact us. But by all means, we're here to help answer any questions. If you have any, let us know. So speaking of fulfillment solutions, which is the last piece that obviously we're integrated via partners, I'd leave you with Manish from Thin. He's one of our key fulfillment and warehouse management partners, so he can tell you more about keys to success in marketplaces from a fulfillment perspective.
Oh, hang on one
Thank you, Alejandro.
All right, there you go.
Thank you, Alejandro, and thank you everyone for joining once again. My name is Manish Chaudhry with Kahoot. We have some exciting content coming, so please stick around and please use the chat box to put in your questions. We will have time towards the end for Q&A, so would love to answer any questions you may have. But as Alejandro has pointed out, there are a number of marketplaces, over 100 now globally, that you can choose from. But how do you select which marketplaces to operate on, and how do you go about doing that? So at a high level, we have to take a sniper approach. That's what we recommend, as opposed to shotgun. And as Alejandro shared earlier, multi-marketplace strategy is not about selling everything everywhere. That is really not a strategy that's likely to yield the best results. So the one way of going about making this selection is to look at your top SKUs. And the top SKUs are SKUs where you have a sourcing advantage, so SKUs where you have a large inventory position, SKUs where you have a competitive advantage, and the SKUs that you're probably doing well on other channels that you're selling a lot of. Once you identify those SKUs, you want to check the rankings of those SKUs on the target marketplace list. And as Alejandro showed us, each marketplace attracts a different set of consumer, which may be suitable for the different kinds of products. But what you want to see is it worth the effort? Is it worth the upside? So what you want to do is you want to look at how many searches are being performed for that product or the category in each of those marketplaces. You want to then see what the competition looks like, how many listings are going to be competing with your product, how many sellers are going to be there. And once you've identified those, you need to now check the prices and see how will you stack up against those other incumbents in those marketplaces by SKU, by category. And you want to look at the complete, fully loaded cost, which includes shipping and tax. Remember, marketplaces are a competitive landscape. They're a competitive environment where you are competing with others, and therefore pricing matters. And then finally, what kind of offer are you going to create? Because you can do everything right. You can get the best product listing. You can have the right marketplaces for your SKUs, and then only to find that you're not converting. And that's where shipping and fulfillment comes in terms of making that conversion from the buy box or getting the buy box in the first place and making the sale. So let's talk about how do you create winning offers. A winning offer is very closely related to fulfillment and shipping. We know that 44% of customers expect now orders to arrive in 2 days or less. I'm sure that several participants on this webinar are probably Amazon Prime members, so you can probably attest to that yourself, and that is true pretty much across the board. And we see a distinct advantage in conversion when you offer fast shipping, fast and free shipping. In fact, if your listing qualifies for Amazon Prime shipping badge, you can expect to do at least 50% more sales. In fact, from our data, we've seen clients do anywhere from 50% to as much as 1,000%. That is 10x more sales by simply having the Prime badge, which gives you 1 day, 2 day free shipping. And this trend is not only present on Amazon, it is across the board. Even on Walmart, if you turn on the 2 day guaranteed 2 day free shipping badge, you can see 40% more sales. And these are, I think, are conservative numbers. There's a very strong correlation between shipping and conversion. I want to share with you this slide that shows the importance of shipping and fulfillment. If you look closely, you will see this Kind bars. Many of you are probably familiar with the Kind snack bars. And here we have Kind selling directly on its website on the left-hand side. And it's a pack of 12 bars in a box, dark chocolate, nuts, and sea salt. It's a great flavor. Love the product. But if you go to buy this box of 12 bars from Kind directly, and if you want it to be delivered in 2 days or less, Kind will charge you $15, and it's a 2-day paid delivery service. Kind, as you know, is a multi-channel retailer, so they sell wholesale, and they sell in wholesale to Walmart, which in turn sells it on its website under its own umbrella. And as we know, wholesale pricing is much less than retail pricing, so they're already selling to Walmart at a much more discounted rate. And Walmart in turn now sells the same exact Kind bar, same identical flavor, the 12 bars, and it can deliver it in 1 day and charges $6 in shipping. And then if you move over to the far right, Kind also sells through Vendor Central to Amazon, and Amazon one-ups Walmart and gives you 1 day free shipping. So if you're part of if you have Prime membership, you can get this product, the same identical product, in 1 day with free shipping with a total cost of $13.49. So it is basically, if I were a loyal Kind customer, I would be actually paying more than 2 times on Kind website. And that is clearly not going to work. If you're a consumer, now you are most likely never going to buy directly from Kind. And Kind has destroyed its direct-to-consumer loyalty. And by the way, this is just one example. We have many, many such examples from brands that you wouldn't believe that this is happening. And this is a clear example of how free and fast shipping is so crucial on all channels, and especially on marketplaces, because if you're on marketplace, you probably wouldn't even survive if your pricing is not competitive. So there's a very strong correlation between shipping and converting and getting the buy box. So let's continue with this conversation around how do you win the buy box? Because it's not about how many marketplaces you sell at. Because if you're not converting, you might as well not sell at those marketplaces. And that is what we want to talk about today is, how do you make your efforts count? How do you amplify your resources? Because, we live in an age where human resources are scarce and our time is limited. So what we've done here for you is created a marketplace competitive landscape through the lens of shipping. So if you look, these are all the popular marketplaces that we could fit on this slide. And, as Alejandro shared, there are 140 plus globally. We couldn't all fit them on the slide, but these are the major marketplaces in the US. Amazon Prime program, which is a very, very popular, 130 million subscribers in the US alone that subscribe to this. And Amazon has been gradually pushing this Prime program to go from 2-day free shipping to 1-day free shipping as the new standard. In fact, last year, Amazon delivered more than 1/3 of all its orders in 1 day or less, 1 day. So there's a very strong push from Amazon to go after one-day shipping. And Walmart, which has historically been slow to respond, however, they've gotten really better, and they are now taking on Amazon very directly and very aggressively. So Walmart has also launched one-day free shipping program. Collectively, if you want to win on Amazon and Walmart, free and fast shipping is essential. In fact, two-day free shipping on those two channels is the old story. Now, we live in the age of one-day free shipping. You place an order on a Saturday, and you will have it delivered on Sunday. Almost all major carriers now deliver 7 days a week to all metro areas, and that trend is accelerating. So if you were selling on a marketplace like Amazon and Walmart and say to yourself, one-day free shipping is not relevant to me, consumers don't want that, you are doing yourself a disservice because the data suggests otherwise. And if you do not offer that, you're probably losing out of 44% of US e-commerce sales, because collectively Amazon and Walmart make up a whopping 44%. Almost half of US e-commerce sales happen there. So competing on one-day, two-day free shipping is very important. And if you look at the two-day shipping row, you can see pretty much across the board, almost every marketplace favors two-day free shipping. And either it will give you a lift in conversion, which it will, but it will also help you with search ranking. Many of our participants on this webinar are probably spending a lot of money on advertising. And as Alejandro pointed out, a lot of these marketplaces have advertising component, because on Amazon, you're first paying Amazon for advertising to get your products discovered. Then you acquire the buy box, and then you pay Amazon further to as a sales commission. So if you are paying for advertising and you cannot convert, your return on advertising spend will be very, very low and very poor, and you will not make much of a profit. So think about shipping not just as a fulfillment and something that the back office operations people have to deal with. It is clearly tied to marketing, it's tied to cost of sales. And for the free shipping is table stakes now. I mean, and any platform, if you ask any online consumer, will they buy anything from you if you don't offer free shipping? The answer is no, across the board. So this is a good high-level overview of what the strong correlation between free and fast shipping and conversion, especially on marketplaces. So how do we make this free and fast shipping a reality? How can you do this profitably? For most sellers, you cannot really use expedited air shipping because that is very expensive. Most sellers can only afford to offer economy ground shipping. And as you can see from this slide, if you were to ship an item that is just a little over 1 pound, headphones from Los Angeles to New York, it will cost you nearly 3 to 4 times to ship via air shipping. So the only realistic option for most sellers is to offer economy ground shipping. However, in order to cover and offer 1 day, 2 day shipping nationwide, you need many more warehouses, because ground shipping can only cover a certain radius from that specific fulfillment location. So you need to get your products closer to your consumers. And in this slide, which is based on the 1 day coverage and 2 day coverage using ground shipping, and in this particular example, we are using FedEx Ground and FedEx Home Delivery. If you had 2 strategically placed fulfillment centers in the US, and if you were lucky enough to have them in the best locations or the most densely populated locations, as illustrated on the first map, which is in New York and Los Angeles, which are the hubs of the population, you would cover about 23% of the US population in 1 day. Most of us do not have that luxury to have those strategically placed locations. So you need about 9 locations to cover 63% of the US population via ground economy in 1 day. And you cover the entire country with 2 days. But basically the message here is a single or two fulfillment locations are no longer enough if you want to offer free and fast shipping that is profitable and affordable. So I think we have a poll coming up in terms of how, Mike, if you want to launch that poll.
Yeah, let's. All right, so the poll here is just curious on how many of you guys currently outsource some of your fulfillment, and about how many fulfillment locations do you currently use. So we'll leave this up for just a moment and get some feedback from the audience there. Give everybody just another couple seconds here. All right, so we'll share these results, and I think Manish may have some insights here.
Excellent. Well, it looks like we have a mixed bag. We have a fairly even distribution on the number of folks that are outsourcing fulfillment right now, and several that are not. Almost half the audience, nearly 3 out of 4 folks on this webinar have 1 or 2 locations, with almost half of them single locations. So I think you'll find the next few slides very helpful. So let's continue. If you close the poll, please. Excellent. So now that we know you need many locations to make fast and free shipping affordable and feasible. So let's continue learning about what are the options. So if you want to offer, I don't have control. Okay. In order to operationalize multiple fulfillment locations, or how we call it distributed fulfillment, you do have several options, and I'm sure you're familiar with many. If you're selling on marketplaces, you're certainly familiar with the fulfillment services that are offered by the marketplace itself. Like Amazon has the very popular Fulfillment by Amazon. Walmart has Walmart Fulfillment Services, and likewise Wish, Newegg, Overstock have some flavors of their own fulfillment services, and Shopify has the Shopify Fulfillment Network, which we have not yet heard much about in terms of success. However, what is important to understand is that these fulfillment services are offered by these marketplaces to suit themselves, and we're talking about a multi-marketplace strategy. And therefore, the challenge with the native fulfillment that's offered by marketplaces is it's highly limited. It's very restrictive. If you are dealing with Amazon FBA, there are quantity restrictions, how much inventory you can send to Amazon, when can you send it. Then you have to wait a very long time for that inventory to be received while your capital is tied up. You have nobody to speak with. If you want to remove your inventory, it could be tied up for days, weeks, months sometimes. And worst of all, if you want to use Amazon, for example, FBA, to fulfill a Walmart order, Walmart doesn't allow that. Or if, say, you wanted to fulfill a Shopify order, that's going to cost you significantly more. In some cases, we've seen that cost to be twice as much, because Amazon only wants to make that affordable on its own warehouse, on its own sales channel, Amazon. They're not interested in helping you grow your Shopify sales by using Fulfillment by Amazon. So that makes it really hard. On one side, we know that you can increase your sales 200%, 300% by selling on multiple channels. And if you lock yourself into native fulfillment by a particular marketplace, it is punitive to do marketplace or multi-channel selling. So from our perspective, that is very limited. The second option, of course, you can use multiple 3PLs. Our data suggests that 2 out of 3 3PL in the US is a mom and pop operator. But what that means is they have 1 location primarily, but they may have 2 or 3 locations tops. And we saw from the previous slide that you need about 9 locations if you want to make one-day delivery happen profitably. or even 2-day delivery, you need 4 to 5 locations. Then these 3PLs are, of course, you have to now sign contracts with 3, 4, 5 of them. Each one has its own pricing structure, its own contract, its own service levels. And let alone, in spite of all that, you need now software and technology to figure out who should fulfill what order. You have to manage the process. And the programs are so complex, like if you're participating in Seller Fulfill Prime, the margin for error is very, very low. And if something goes wrong, you could get booted from that marketplace. If your order gets delivered late, you get a bad review. If the bad review comes in, that affects your sales on that marketplace, meaning fulfillment is not just fulfillment. Fulfillment is equal to sales and your reputation online. So dealing with multiple 3PLs, they're great people. However, piecing them together, putting them together, managing them, getting the visibility, very, very complex, very challenging. So another option, which is really a solution that's designed for this multi-channel, multi-marketplace selling, is a fulfillment network such as Kahoot, which is a peer-to-peer fulfillment network, which operates on the same rules, same service levels across all locations. A fulfillment network such as Kahoot has a large national footprint. They have many, many warehouses, and it has superior technology, so you don't have to deal with individual locations. It knows which order should be fulfilled by whom and when, and it provides you complete and full transparency and visibility, so you can rest easy and focus on, selling as opposed to worrying about the back office. So just by way of introduction, Kahoot Order Fulfillment Network is a nationwide 1-day, 2-day delivery network. Of course, we support economy shipping and standard shipping 6 to 7 days a week, which is a requirement by most marketplaces, especially Amazon. Amazon wants you to be fulfilling orders on weekend, and they want orders to be delivered to consumers on weekend. It is affordable all year long on all channels. There's no special pricing for Amazon and Shopify. It's the same affordable pricing. And because of the ease of technology and integration, you can be up and running in 2 weeks or less. And I will share with you there are 2 ways to engage with Kahoot. And one of them actually helps you make money, which is very unique to Kahoot. And that's one of the reasons why Kahoot won the Fast Company Most Innovative Company Award this year. And we have spectacular ratings and performance standards. We have one of the highest industry fulfillment standards in the industry. So there are 2 ways you can engage with Kahoot. One is very similar to a 3PL, but a network of 3PL. You simply send your inventory to Kahoot, and Kahoot will fulfill the orders on your behalf. But what's unique about Kahoot is it believes in inclusive fulfillment strategy. So for the 50% of the folks that have one warehouse, you can continue and become part of the Kahoot network so that your warehouse is considered as one of the locations. So Kahoot will send you the orders to fulfill that are closer to you, that is cheaper to fulfill from your warehouse, and Kahoot locations will fulfill the rest of the orders. So it's a very inclusive, and you don't need any special technology, and it is plug and play. The second option is if some of you are interested in and have a warehouse and are interested in joining Kahoot as a fulfillment partner, that means you get to fulfill orders on behalf of Kahoot. Of course, it's a by invitation only program, and there's a lot of vetting that goes on because in order to maintain the highest quality standards. However, this could be a great option for folks who can leverage their existing warehouse space and staffing to make a new revenue stream and can earn a new source of income, and also as a way to offset some of your cost when you outsource fulfillment to Kahoot. So this is very unique to Kahoot, and if you're interested, please reach out. And just as a recap, and I know I want to leave room for some Q&A, so please keep those questions coming. As Alejandro shared with us, there are a number of marketplaces, over 140, that are integrated with Channel Advisor alone in 75 countries. So there's a lot of complexity involved here to manage, integrate, and optimize sales across multiple channels. And then there's a strong correlation between fulfillment and shipping when it comes to conversion, especially on marketplaces. So you need both the best of breed technology for listings, and then you need best of breed solution and service to get your orders delivered to your customers so that customers are happy. And as a quick recap, what we have is of the webinar, marketplaces are more important than ever. In fact, I was just reading some research yesterday. Marketplaces are going to grow nearly at twice the speed as your direct-to-consumer. So if you have a Shopify store, more and more consumers are going to flock to marketplaces without a doubt. Product searches are beginning on marketplaces, so you cannot ignore them. There is a lot of marketplaces that all have different audience, different customers. So please don't think that it's the same people on all the marketplaces. Absolutely not. They are niches, and you've got to explore those niches. And that's where internet is all about taking advantage of segmentation and unique attributes. Then, create compelling offers, which requires free and fast shipping, especially on marketplaces. If you do not offer 1-day, 2-day shipping, you would probably miss out on 50% of e-commerce. 50% of US e-commerce will be unavailable, so very important. And then finally, in order to deal with the complexity of multiple marketplaces, you need services like Channel Advisor and Kahoot so that you can win on those marketplaces, because it's not about how many marketplaces you're at, it's how many marketplaces you're winning at. That's the key message. So I want to turn this back to you, Mike, for Q&A.
Great, thanks, Manish. We do have some good questions coming in, so gonna get started with a couple of those. First one we've got here is for Channel Advisor. What marketplaces does Channel Advisor recommend in the US other than Amazon and eBay? And what's the next step for somebody that's already on those marketplaces if they want to grow?
Sure, thanks, Mike. Yeah, great question. So, if you're thinking about a general strategy, push out your whole catalog, price-conscious consumers. Certainly, Walmart will be your next step, and they're open. Target is gated. They are only working through a few partners, integrators like us. And so if your product is more on, fashion, home goods, Target might be interested, but again, you need to go through an integrator. Then if your strategy is more on the, let's say lower priced items, promotional side of things, Wish is a fast growing marketplace. Facebook has great traffic for that kind of stuff. And then but finally, if you're in electronics, Newegg is always a great place to go.
Great. All right. Thanks, Alejandro. And now got one here for Manish. The question is, which marketplaces does Kahoot support?
Well, Kahoot supports all the marketplaces that Channel Advisor supports because of our partnership and integration. And from what we learned from Alejandro, that Channel Advisor supports 140 marketplaces. Kahoot also has direct native integration with all the top channels. So if you're not a Channel Advisor customer, we can still work with you, not a problem. So Kahoot service is channel agnostic. There are multiple ways to get orders into Kahoot, and Kahoot will fulfill all orders from all channels, and we support pretty much every channel out there.
Great. All right. Thanks, Manish. Aldi, I was wondering if you could help out with any of the other questions that may have come in through chat.
There is let's start with the first question. For Kahoot, what differentiates you from Deliver?
Oh, that's a great question, Aldi. Well, Deliver is a good service. One of the key differentiators between Deliver and Kahoot is Deliver is not focused on Amazon Seller Fulfill Prime. If you are trying to take advantage of the Seller Fulfill Prime program, Kahoot specializes in Seller Fulfill Prime, which is the gold standard for fulfillment in the US. And Kahoot standards mirrors Amazon Seller Fulfill Prime. Then there are several other advantages that Kahoot has. One, Kahoot believes in inclusive fulfillment, which means if you have a warehouse, you can coexist on the Kahoot network, as opposed to Deliver is purely outsourcing, and you have to do the heavy technology, heavy lifting of figuring out what orders should be fulfilled by Deliver and which orders should be fulfilled by you. And then another key advantage of Kahoot is Kahoot can print labels on your carrier accounts. So if you have a great negotiated rates with UPS and FedEx, and you don't want to lose those volume, because as you know, your discounts are directly tied to your total fulfillment or shipping volume. So if you outsource to Deliver, and they will certainly not use your UPS or FedEx account to generate the labels, you would lose all that volume. And then consequently, you will also lose your discounts as a result, whereas Kahoot allows you to maintain those discounts. So those are some of the high level. Please reach out, and we'll be happy to talk further and share more details. But there are some key strategic advantages that Kahoot has in comparison to Deliver.
All right, thanks, Manish. There's also a next question about free and fast shipping. As consumers definitely understand the fast and free shipping is important. Is there a different expectation for consumers for larger products like furniture or appliances?
Well, I would start with the high level. No. If when consumers pay a lot of money, they expect the same level of service. And Amazon in particular has trained us. I could order a 65-inch flat screen TV and pay $3,000, and I can get it delivered in one day. I mean, I can have I can go order on Best Buy, and Best Buy will make that available through the store. So the short answer is it's not. I mean, this is one area of contention that I see regularly, that the brands and retailers believe that consumers are willing to wait. However, that is not true, because of the likes of Amazon and Walmart are training those consumers not to wait. The similar initiatives are happening on other large channels or destinations and retailers like Home Depot, which have a large number of stores, so they can ship very fast to the customers. So if you order a washing machine, it can be delivered relatively quickly. So I would say no. Of course, if it is a white glove delivery, like say if you order a sofa that you need to have it delivered using white glove, then of course the consumers are willing to wait a little bit longer. But typical appliances, not really. And those shipping speeds are gradually accelerating. They are certainly not, consumer expectations are not staying stagnant for those larger items either.
All right, I think there's a good one here for Alejandro too. Question here is, what's the recommended software to perform the listing among marketplaces and even manage their prices at one web interface?
Well, I mean, obviously, I would say ChannelVisor, because I work at ChannelVisor, and I believe in our platform. So I don't know. That's a tricky question for me. But certainly, what I can talk about is, the benefits of our platform, which just one integration with you, and then within one single interface, you handle listings, optimization, mapping, advanced tools like repricing, cross-channel reportings for your different channels. So certainly that's why we exist. That's why we've put 20 years of investment and time into an award-winning platform, is to help make this complex world easier and solve those issues highlighted in the question. And so, there's obviously other tools out there. What I can say is that, many of those other tools are just on the feed management side, push a feed from one platform. But certainly, as we explained earlier in a slide, there's more than just pushing the feed. There's optimization, there's expansion, there's obviously the operational side of things. And for that, frankly, I think that ChannelVisor provides the best value out there.
Great, thanks, Alejandro. Ollie, do you have some other ones? We're kind of coming
Yes,
up on time, but we have
there's
time for maybe one more.
okay. So I'm gonna combine a few questions here that's about margins. Quite a few people are concerned that would the seller be paying an additional fee on top of shipping fees to Kahoot, for example? They're concerned about their products being less than $20. Would that cut into revenue? My gut feel is that by being closer to customers, you would pay less in shipping costs. But Manish, would you be able to elaborate on that?
Yes. I mean, I don't know fully understand the question, but essentially, distributed fulfillment strategy is hard to execute. However, if it is done strategically, it can be profitable, and it is profitable. And if it's done at scale, it is absolutely supremely advantageous. It is, of course, very difficult to split, small amount of inventory across many locations, because there's a cost of moving that inventory. So you need to think in terms of a complete end-to-end optimization, directly from source. As you're sourcing, if you're bringing the products in from the supplier, and if you can send the product directly from the supplier to Kahoot, rather than or a Kahoot-like network, rather than bringing it into your warehouse and then redistributing that, because you will cut down on that freight cost. And many times what we've seen from our clients, that they have suppliers on the West Coast, and the client is located in New York. Rather than having the supplier ship from California to New York and back to California, you're actually reducing the freight cost considerably, and actually saving money. So of course, each individual case might be different, but overall, if it is executed well and strategically, it is profitable. And moreover, on the shipping side, you pay less to UPS, FedEx, USPS when you're shipping zone 2, say California to Oregon versus California to New York. So overall, if it is strategically executed and well executed, it is on par or better, and you can be quite profitable.
Great, thanks, Manish. All right, I think that's going to wrap it up for today. Appreciate everyone attending the webinar, and as I mentioned earlier, we will send a copy of the recording out early next week. So take a look for that, and of course, visit the websites that we've got here on the slide. And thanks again for attending, and we hope you found it informative, and hope to see you again soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.